Tepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Harunefer. This is Qesankh my Keperu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, I am going to talk about why you need Satan or Seth. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. And if this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you'd like to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can scroll down below and click on any one of the 4 ebooks. They're absolutely free, and you can start reading today. However, if that's not enough, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you, and you can cancel at any time. And I'm currently doing a really great series which talks about karma and ancestral curses, how to deal with that. But if you are a Patreon supporter, not only will you get that, you'll get videos on the esoteric, videos on the spiritual, like how to contact the ancestors, how to do lucid dreaming, how to astral project, how to do self-hypnosis to curb your overeating, addiction to nicotine or what have you. And remember, you can cancel at any time. Last but not least, share this video. Make sure you share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So, Haru Nefer, may Buddha bless you, Grand Rising. So I was on social media the other day, and someone who is an idiot, or maybe an agent, I more like to say, was a part of an African spirituality group. And he had commented on an old statue from Kemet, Egypt, where the woman was holding her pharaoh, or had her arm wrapped around her pharaoh. And this gentleman's comment was that this shows how the woman was more important than the man in ancient Egypt. I don't know how you can conclude that from the photo. Well, I lit into him, and most of the people, of course, in the thread agreed with me. And I said this: you're talking about a Western concept, which is hierarchy. We didn't have that kind of concept in ancient Kemet. So we don't say the woman was more important or the man was more important. We have a cosmological framework for how the universe and for how God man and God woman operate. What you're attempting to do is to superimpose European sexism upon our ancient culture. Not only are you wrong, but you sound like an idiot, because there is no basis, in fact, in your conclusion. In fact, many Egyptologists, some of the female Egyptologists, conclude that women weren't highly regarded in ancient Egypt. But that's their own biases superimposed on that. Now get this, because I really want you to understand this. There is a difference between a hierarchical order. You know, you hear the whole term climbing the corporate ladder, because that's derived from European culture. You remember King Arthur did away with that when he created the Knights of the Round Table, because he didn't want any one knight to be above the other. They all were equal around the table. They never square table, had a round table. And we know the circle is a symbol of cycles. And it's also a symbol of cosmology. So this idiot doesn't even know the prime foundation upon which ancient Egypt was built on. a place for everything and everything in its place, which is why we created the zodiac. Because we looked at the energies of things and said, okay, this energy is best suited to do this. This energy is best suited to do this. Not based on a hierarchy of, okay, arbitrarily, we're going to give you a higher position than this. Very stupid, very stupid. And I allow my person to get angry because he's trying to corrupt our culture and impose feminism on it, which is very destructive. There was no need for feminism in our cultures because women were already highly regarded. The mere fact that the woman is standing next to her pharaoh, her king, shows you that we had saw them as co-rulers. And women in Egypt and Kemet had more rights than Western women did. They could divorce their spouses. They can own land. And in the kingship, the heir was determined through the woman, matrilineal. Now, how does this relate to the fact that we need Satan? Well, you must understand that the African spiritual religion, if you want to call it religion, it's really spirituality, is based on the complementary of opposites. Remember, we operated off the right brain, which is congregative, and the left brain, which is segregative. Left brain is concrete thinking, right brain is abstract thinking. So we looked at everything and saw how it related to each other, how it can be inclusive or included in the whole, the parts fitting within the whole to support the whole. Whereas Europeans who thought out the left side of the brain attempted to label, define, and separate things. This is the origin of racism and sexism. This is where we get the hierarchy from. The reptilian brain deals with a hierarchy, rigid forms of culture. So many of these people who come out of this so-called Hotep community, Black nationalist community, don't know anything about their own culture. If you were to go back in time to ancient Kemet, there would be no Uncle Toms and Coons. So how could you use in present day labels and terms that divide us? You see, ancient Egypt in their thinking, in their masterful thinking, looked to see how everything could work together, how everything was necessary for the whole to function. And without those pieces, the whole would collapse. Why is this important to understand? Why do we need Satan? You see, Satan is a derivative of Set or Seth. And then I really advise you to read the story of Asara Set to really understand this. But in short, Set was the personification of evil. And Haru, he was Haru's uncle, so Haru had to battle him. And every time Haru battled him for the throne, it ended in a stalemate. It was only when Haru went to Tahuti did Tahuti give him a third eye, which allowed him to defeat Set. But what is Set? Set is not actually an outside force or an outside person. Seth is your emotions. Set is the Sahu person in you. We call in the Kemetic spiritual culture, your emotions, we call them Sahu, which is the reptilian and mammalian brain. So Haru had to develop his prefrontal lobe, his third eye, to mature enough to be beyond the influences of his emotion, the lower spirit. Therefore, he would have the right to sit on the throne. You see, in this Western society, they want you to indulge in your emotions because they want to create a satanic world. But again, why do we need Satan? You see, let's look at it from the Christian doctrine. Satan created hell. If you don't do right, you go to hell. Now, that's a child's ideology. That's forcing you to do good because you're fearing going to hell. God will never compel you to do good. Never. Why? To understand why, let's look at the animal kingdom. Like I have ferrets, right? A ferret is born, or a lion cub is born. Instinctively, they know what to do and what to eat. They don't have to go to school. They don't need to be educated. Instinct tells them to go out there and hunt. Instinct tells them a wolf to howl at the moon. Instinct tells a dog when he sees a stranger to growl. They don't have a choice. They are compelled by instinct. But you, who are a higher being, your God man, God woman, are not compelled by instinct. Now, I'm going to take a break here. I want you all to make sure, because we only have a few days left, to sign up for my Reality Manifestation Program Level 2. It's an awesome program. You can go to the website, which is engineeryourreality.com. Sign up now. It's going to be fantastic, as I'm going to be revealing some awesome stuff never before heard on manifesting things in your life, such as financial abundance, a mate, and more. So go there, check the website out, register now. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. So an animal has to act according to instinct. You're not going to get, like, you heard the example of where, what was it? I don't know. It was a toad, right? And he was at the edge of the lake, and there was a scorpion on this rock, and the scorpion asked the toad, could you give me a ride across? And the toad was saying, no, because if I do that, you'll sting me. And the scorpion said, well, I promise not to. So the toad believed him. The scorpion got on the toad's back, and the toad was like swimming, got halfway across the lake, and then the scorpion stung him. And the toad said, well, why did you do that? Because now we're both going to drown. And the scorpion said, I can't help it. It's in my nature. That's what we're talking with the animal kingdom. You know what I'm saying? But we are God men and God women. We're not compelled by instincts. Aha, but here's the key. Here's the key. You see, when a baby is born, it needs help. It is fragile. It is exposed. And without its mother, it will die. Why? You see, Seth and Satan serve a very important role. And this Christian asked me this question: why did Jesus have to die for our sins when God could have killed Satan? And I said to him, God would never kill Satan. Christian said, why? Because that will be the end of your free will. You understand? Satan and God give you the opportunity to choose, to have a free will. Otherwise, if there was no Satan, you would be compelled, stranglehold into following God's command. You would have no choice. But God, knowing that when he created us in his image, he had to create Satan to give us freedom of choice, freedom to do right or wrong. And God never compels you to do right or wrong. God says you are a supreme being. You are not the animals, because the animals have to operate by instinct. You are God-man. You have the choice to what you want to do, the choice to follow me or not, the choice to live ma'at or not, the choice to follow Seth or not. Isn't that a beautiful thing? But Christians don't understand the deeper esoteric meaning behind Satan. That's why Satan is necessary. That's why when you go to Kemet today or Egypt today, you will see statues of Seth. And somebody told me, well, wasn't Seth evil? I said, you have to understand the thinking of our ancestors. You know, nothing has a quality in and of itself. Seth is necessary. When Haru defeated Seth, he did not kill Seth. He sent Seth to the Duat, the underworld, where he would be at the front of the barge and clear the barge so it could travel and diverse the underworld, because Seth had a place in the large scheme of things. He had a place in the whole, you see? So we understood the importance of Seth, which is why we built statues to him. The same reason why Satan is a necessary evil, to give you that freedom of choice. Now, the whole hell thing came later. That did not plop up. The whole hell thing came as a coercion, a way to get you to follow these Christian ministers and things and fear God. You're supposed to love God. You're not supposed to fear God. If I have to fear this God and I'm doing things out of fear, then that's not right. Then I'm not doing things generally because I have a free will. I'm doing things because I'm afraid of the repercussions. Does that make sense? This is why our ancestors always saw the other half as a complement to the whole, not as a contradiction to the whole. We understand without a day, there won't be a night. Without hot, there won't be cold. Without black, they won't be white. But there are people who are on this planet who are part of the oligarchy, who are intent on exterminating people of color from this planet because they don't understand. Well, they do understand in a way. They don't celebrate complementary elements. They don't have holistic thinking. They are structured, polarized, and left brain thinking. They are evil. They are satanic. Because if you're living holistically, you don't strive to get rid of the other half. Because if you get rid of the other half, you'll find out you cannot survive. Because God doesn't create superfluous things. God creates everything with a purpose. And this is what they don't understand. So they create things to shorten our lifespans. They do everything they can, from police shootings, chemicals in our food, legislation, toxic air to exterminate us, which is why we must be on our P's and Q's. We must study the philosophy of our ancestors. We have to do battle with this presence. And we should not be fighting each other. That's why when people come to me and they're saying, so-and-so's a coon or he's Uncle Tom, I say, I don't want you over here. I don't want to hear that type of language. Or like, why he has a white girl, she has a white man. I said, I don't want to hear that. Don't bring that over here. Those are titles that separate us. Like there are 133 genders. Don't bring that to me. We celebrate complementary elements, not contradictory elements. Just like the Hegelian dialectic is left brain. Thesis, then you create an antithesis. What is the antithesis? It's anti. We would never create something like that. In our cosmological system, everything functioned to support the whole. There was nothing that was anti. This is why we live in a sick society, because these so-called PhDs and these scientists writing papers are caught up in left brain thinking. They can't help it. And because they're caught up in left brain thinking, they dismiss the metaphysical. Well, now they're embracing it. They're realizing they were wrong all along, that the metaphysical is an important element to the physical. They're now realizing, oh, there's more dimensions. We're limited in the spectrum of light that we can see. Oh, it took you thousands of years to realize that, when our ancestors knew that all along, that there were different wavelengths of light, some of which we couldn't see with the normal eyes. So they would take the DMT, ayahuasca, to be able to broaden their third eye so they can see these different spectrums in life and light. And lo and behold, what did they see? They saw interdimensional beings. Oh, hey, Jennifer. How's Chicago? So they're only rediscovering what we knew thousands of years ago. They're not breaking ground here. Just like they play the game. When they go in to study, it's just, they do the left brain game. When they go in to do samples to prove that the mummies were European, the mummies, the ancient Egyptian mummies were European, where do they go? They select the area they knew where most Greeks came to Egypt and settled in. They don't allow us to pick the regions of like the old kingdoms. No, they want to pick the region to do the DNA test, because they know that the Greeks settled in those areas, and the DNA test will show that they are of European heritage. They're so conniving. And then they publish it in their papers. So-and-so mummies we found can be traced back to our European and are white of white origin or white complexion. And the BBC gave it all away when they were studying Cleopatra's sister, and they found that she had pronounced prognosticism, which the BBC said is common among the Egyptians. Prognosticism is not a trait from Europe. It's only a trait of people of Black African heritage. These guys are evil scientists that control the world. They have lied and produced Hollywood movies portraying the ancient Egyptians as white. When you can go to Egypt today and look at the Metu Neta or the hieroglyphics and see that these people are black. They're black and brown. The paint is still there. How do you derive from the black and brown paint a lily white Egyptian, gods of Egypt? How do you derive the 10 Commandments when you can clearly see on the Egyptian wall the paintings, which are people of color? How do you explain finding pics or depiction of afros, depiction of braids? That's not European hair. How do you explain the Sphinx having prognosticism? How do you explain that? I went to the Sphinx that they redid. They created one here in Las Vegas. I went to that one. And you'll notice whenever they put a Sphinx in a movie or they're recreated for some casino or something, they make it into a white man. Thin lips, thin nose. But when you look at and no prognosticism, but when you look at the actual Sphinx, broad nose, thick lips, prognosticism. The Sphinx is of a black man. There's no two ways about it. It's conclusive. Napoleon even said it. But Hollywood plays this con game. And they are so sad and pathetic. They have no culture of their own, so they go and steal culture. Just like these white girls on TikTok. And what they do is they copy black girls' dances. And then the white girl gets all the credit. What kind of sick thing is that? Now TikTok, I guess, is making a rule that these white girls have to credit where they got the dances from. Because the white girls were getting all these followers and all this money for views. And the black girls were being left in obscurity. So they created this world of race that has become so sick. And they have done such propaganda that they have everybody hating black people. They are sick. They are mental. I'm talking about the ruling elite who are the orchestrators of this, the puppet masters, the 1% who control the 99%, the 1% who are trillionaires and gazillionaires who you'll never see because they hide behind the curtain. These people plot every day on how to destroy people of color. Do you not realize that? These people plot every day and form alliances on how to destroy people of color. And the way they get us from not acknowledging that there is a war and not engaging in this war is they throw Beyonce at us. They throw Nicki Minaj at us. They throw Kanye West. Those are distractions. They throw football at us. They throw boxing at us, basketball, rap. All these things are just to keep you distracted so that you will not stop and say, wait a minute, we should be fighting this war. That should be our prime directive to ensure that we are here in the future. But you're so caught up in getting rich or die trying. You're so caught up in trying to, because the masses of us have low self-esteem. So we're trying to live this luxurious life that many of us will never reach because those people who live those lives are selected. Those big time YouTubers are selected by YouTube. When you see was this Mr. Beast come along and he's making billions of dollars, he turned down to buy out his channel for $1 billion. He was selected, and YouTube pushed him to the forefront. His content is nothing to where it should be garnering $1 billion. You understand? If you watch his content and people who are at his level, there's nothing that interesting about his content that's worthy of him making $1 billion. But he is selected. See, they got to get you into the distraction. Do you understand? People are paid to distract you. Beyonce delves in Satanism, in possession. And you don't get it. You really don't get it. Let me explain something you don't know. If you want to be a big time rapper or singer, let's say like Kanye West or 50 Cent. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say it bluntly. You walk in the door, and I watched this old film because it was very relevant. It's called "Oh God, You Devil." I watched the original "Oh God" and then the third one called "Oh God, You Devil." And in that film, George Burns plays the devil, and he signs this guy to a record contract. He tricks him into signing him to the record contract. So, oh, well, you got to do what I want you to do now. I own you. So this is how it works. Because you see those brothers on the street selling their CDs. They're idiots. I mean, you know, I hate to say they're idiots, but they're just misled. When you get to the level of where the Illuminati gets interested in you, then here it comes. You walk into a nice office and they put the recording contract in front of you. Say, listen, this is we're going to sign you. You're going to make $1 million, millions and millions of dollars, possibly even $1 billion. Are you interested? And the ignorant brother or sister says, yeah. No, it's usually a brother. Let me just put it this way. The ignorant brother says, yeah. And he says, where do I sign? And the record executive says, no, you don't sign. Turn over and pull your pants down and stick your booty in the air so I can do you in the butt. And then the person says, what? Stick your ass in the air. I'm going to screw you in your butt. And then I'm going to ejaculate in your butt. Real talk. Real talk. How do you suddenly think that people like Eddie Murphy and Will Smith are such into freaky stuff? You know where that came from? They signed those contracts. They did the deal with the devil. Listen, if they are molesting children, if there's pedophiles in Hollywood molesting children, and we know that Hollywood is supposedly very liberal, what do you think they're doing with you? They'll be like, even in certain instances, if you're not even on a higher level, you can climb your way to the top if you give up enough booty. I kid you not. I want you to think about that. Lil Nas X is just one person who's just out in the open about it. You better understand. Or they invite you to a party at so-and-so's house. And they'd be like, yo, so-and-so from big time music wants to talk to you. He's in the bedroom. Then you walk in the bedroom, and that record executive is sitting on a bed. He pats the seat beside him, says, "Come on, sit down." And he tells you what he could do for you, but you have to give up the booty. It's happening to women. We know the casting couch is real. Many women, this is why the whole Me Too movement came out, because it was happening to women. So if it's happening to women, and you know there are gay executives, from record label executives to producers, you know it's happening to men, but it's not talked about. So I want you to understand that you have a choice. You see, you have a choice in which way you want to go. God's not going to compel you. God's going to not come down from the pearly gates and say, "Thou shalt not do this." No, he's not. And the way you're going to resist it is not by reading the word or having the Bible. It's by being up on your spiritual game. Honoring your ancestors. Satan is important to give you freedom to choose. God doesn't compel anyone to do anything. And Satan will always make, choosing him to be glamorous. And Seth, in the story of Asar and Seth, did the same thing to Haru. He invited Haru into his bedroom and wanted to have sex with Haru. That's in the story. Go read it. And Haru was like, "Got the hell out of there." So, my beloved, I want you guys to sign up for the Reality Manifestation Level 2 course. Go to engineeryourreality.com. Support the channel. Make a donation, please. You need to support what's yours, okay? Stop supporting these guys who only talk about his relationship stuff. It's getting ridiculous now because we're not talking about progressive stuff. It's like every channel now is talking about the gender war, as I call it. But no one is talking about the real things that are going on. Anyway, until my next video, this is Qesankh Ma'akeperu, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.